Before the video starts, there are spoilers, so be warned. And this video isn't just going to be me knocking on New Game Plus because I love New Game Plus, but there are some things that personally I think could make it a lot better. And I want to talk about them, so here you go. First, let's talk about the whole Starborn aspect. When you go into New Game Plus, you become Starborn, and unfortunately you only get two options from there. You can either redo the main quest, and in no way can you tell them that you're Starborn, or you can tell them that you're Starborn, and you have to skip the main quest. This is really unfortunate because I think it would have been so much better to be able to tell them at a certain point, even with doing the main quest. I don't want to skip it in some of my runs, but I do want to tell them. The closest you can get is kind of hinting at it with Mateo and Walter, but you can never really tell them. It gets really annoying when you meet the first Starborn, and they're all like, "Oh, wow, I've never seen a ship like this. The ship is so mysterious."
Is that... is that a prototype? No, that material isn't anything we... What the...
That's no faction vessel or Crimson Fleet. Secret military tech, maybe?
No United Colonies Admiral approved that starship design.
No settled systems lab made these things, and I doubt one of them made that ship either.
Well, start analyzing all the data from the ship sensors, the gravitational wave they caused, scans of their weapons, shields, everything.
Another thing that raises a lot of questions is the high price to pay quest. This is probably my favorite quest in the game, but it's just so mind-boggling that Constellation is so stupid after it. First off, if you do high price to pay, they've all seen the Hunter, so why are they not questioning when you're wearing the exact same kind of armor, using the exact same ship? I feel like I would be questioning if someone got killed by some dude that looks and wears the exact same stuff as my friend. Now what's even more weird is if you skip high price to pay, the Hunter will show up in your ship right after you build the artillery. He will talk to you about what you need to do. He'll tell you to go tell Mateo about the Unity, blah blah blah. But no one seems to question why some dude wearing mysterious armor suddenly appeared in your ship, started talking to you, and then disappeared. It's just so annoying that some of these people in this game seem oblivious to what's happening. Now that I've gotten out of the way what I hate about the Starborn aspect of New Game Plus, I want to talk about what I think should have happened. I think what should have happened is if you're using the Starborn ship, they'll question you about it. And then when they see the other Starborn ship, they'll question you about it more. And then after high price to pay, they'll maybe take a second to use the brains in their noggins and say, okay, something's going on here. You need to tell us what's happening, and then you can either come clean, make up an excuse, lie, whatever afterwards. But it would have been so much better, because then it would actually seem like Constellation are people with brains. If they really don't want to do that, you should have been able to at least tell your romantic partner, if you get one in the game, that you're Starborn, because it's just so mind-boggling to me that you can go through a whole marriage and not once it brings up the option to tell them that you're not from this universe. Now, I want to talk about the altering universes. Personally, I think the altering universe is really cool. It brings in a new factor. It brings in spice and shock, especially when you go in and find an army of you staring you in the face. But unfortunately, I think it could have been a lot better. What I really think they should have done is had some subtle changes along with the huge changes. You can go in and find a whole building of children, sure, but what would have been really cool is if randomly small, little things will change. Maybe a building that was there last time isn't there. Maybe there's a new person running the trade authority. Maybe Ryujin Industries' brand color is blue instead of red. Maybe Constellation characters are gender swapped. Just some subtle things that slowly add on, so if a change happens in New Game Plus 1, it'll still be there in Plus 2, but there'll be new ones. I think this would have been really cool. It would have added more incentive to go through the Unity over and over. Kind of like gambling to try and find that perfect universe that you can settle down in. But the more you do it, the more it changes, so the further you drift away from what you came from. This is a very subtle nitpick, and it really wouldn't have changed all that much to just have two tiny little changes all around. But it just would have added to the experience so much, in my opinion. I think this really also would have made the Hunter and Emissary such better characters. Instead of them going through to just get more powerful, they would have been going through to try and find a universe close to home. But the more they do it, the more they realize that's not gonna happen. The next thing I want to talk about is the original universe, the universe you came from. I think it would have been really neat if we could stumble back on across this universe at some random checkpoint, like maybe New Game Plus 15 or Plus 20. Every certain amount, you will stumble across your home universe just to see what it's like. How has life changed back home? How has life changed because of what you've done? I would have loved to be able to find the answers to these questions. Another aspect of that is maybe you could find your old companions wandering around. It would have been nice to be able to randomly stumble across your first companion as Starborn and see how they're doing, reconnect, and maybe bring them along, stuff like that. It would have just been so neat. Lastly, I want to talk about the Entangled quest. This is another one of my favorite quests that I've probably ever played, but I feel like the features of it are so underutilized. We only see these little anomalies once more in the game, which is really disappointing. I think what would have been amazing is if the more New Game Pluses you go through, the more these anomalies start to spawn because of how you're breaking space and time, if you get what I mean. It would have been neat to be able to randomly stumble across them and have to do maybe like a little mini quest to figure out how to get back to where you were. I feel like these anomalies are such a missed opportunity with how little they're used.